Hey everybody, this is the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
Welcome to our Best of the Year episode. We are psyched to have Brett Michelle from the Boston Phoenix.
And the Boston Herald.
And the Boston Herald. And Sean Burns with the Improper Bostonian. And who do you write? You write with the Philadelphia Weekly, right?
Philadelphia Weekly, yeah.
So we're basically doing what we did last year, which was we're going to do like a top 10, going from 10 down to 1, and who knows where the conversation's going to go.
Sin nombre.
You know, both a wonderful film and a nightmare for me from last year.
I still have a screener. I almost brought it with me and gave it to you for Christmas.
I was thinking of putting it on my list this year, right?
That's still shrink wrap, too.
So we,
The gift keeps on giving.
I'll start things off. I'll pull out my secret list. You know, I'm also of the opinion that my list is like, you know, it's like a conglomeration. And then I didn't really put things in order in any way until like a couple hours ago.
Well, just in general, is there any specific criteria any of us have? I just went with movies I liked. You know, because especially when I started going through the list, I was amazed at how much, I was saying before, how much shit we had to sit through this year. Mm-hmm. There are so many bad movies. So finding anything that was good, it was like, well, you weren't bad. I'll put you on the list for consideration. You
how about this?
Suck.
My criteria.
Maybe I'll mention you.
My criteria for a little while was, I don't want to take shit for putting this on my list. It's too much work trying to defend it, so forget it.
Oh, I have no fear for that.
Yeah, no, I was this close to putting The Expendables on my list, but realized I'd never live it down.
Why not?
Well, you got John going with you on that one.
And I specifically picked films that I know you've never heard of, John.
Well, yeah. That's a long list, though.
It could be all 10.
Yeah, it's he just reads the program from last month at the archive. I'm lost. I'm just like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to start it off. I'm just going to throw it out there. For 10, I chose Please Give, the Nicole Holofcener film. I'll go with Catherine Keener and Amanda Peet and Oliver Platt. And I think I chose this mostly because I love Catherine Keener, and this movie sort of crystallized what I like about her. You know, she just seems so right, so well cast. And maybe Holofcener sort of makes her films for Catherine Keener. I don't know. They're just I'm
kind of
very
look alike.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this doppelganger thing they got going here.
We're going to have to keep a side tally. I didn't see it.
Well, you know, it's not in any way like I could have gone with The Kids Are All Right, but I had some serious problems with that film.
Why mention that film in the same breath?
I mean, I had some serious problems with how they treated Mark Ruffalo's character. I thought, but I'm not going to get into it. I'm not choosing that movie. I'm talking about Please Give. Okay. So this is what the deal is.
Please Give, Brett?
I did, and it's actually on my short list. Almost squeaked in on the list. Plus, I think you're really gay for Oliver Platt, too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, although
That's
he did
really
cut an interview off in the middle, right as we were in the middle of an interview, he just decided not to do it. This was for that. God, what was that movie? The one with the April's, you know, the Thanksgiving movie with I forget the name of it. Anyway. He basically had to be somewhere. He cut the interview off. You know, it was like an impromptu.
Well, he's still very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really quickly, Catherine Keener plays a woman who deals in used furniture, and she's suffering from an incredible amount of guilt for the profit that she's making off of selling dead people's furniture.
Let's call them antiquities.
Yeah, antiquities. And it's basically that. It's basically how does she balance being able to live an actual really good life, you know, a really nice living in the city, with you know, how she's relating to her kids, and
Well, also, she's waiting for her next door neighbor to die so she can take over the apartment.
oh yeah,
So
there's
that tension with the daughters.
The neighbor who actually
She's a
really
terrible person.
Well, her daughter thinks she's a terrible. She wants to be a really good person, but the essence of what she's doing is just not that good. So she's constantly in this sort of moral battle with herself.
Comedy?
It's very funny.
Well, yeah, Ann Gilbert.
And she's a royal cunny.
Oh, Amanda Peet.
That's one.
Which is a really hard
Awesome
role to
orange
play.
tan.
Well, it's a
That is the
very
best
hard role
spray tan.
for an actress to play, playing a bad guy like that. You know, that I respect it.
Did it make up for her work in Gulliver's Travel? Even with the orange stand?
It was weird seeing her be all happy and jumpy in Gulliver's Travels. Let me just say that.
I like the movie a lot too. It almost made my list. I just wish Hollister would kind of do more visually, because it's really flat.
It's pretty
to look at.
static.
Yeah, and it's just this is like the 5th film now. It's kind of.
What else has she done?
Walking and Talking, Lovely and Amazing, Friends with Money, the 4th film.
I think this is a trifecta. I haven't seen any of them yet.
You gotta
And the other one
get
I
into
haven't
the
seen.
zone, John.
Yeah. Yeah. Brett, let's go around the table. You go next. Damn. Oh, numero 10.
All right. My pick for number 10. The best goddamn use of 3D I've ever seen.
It's going to be my movie.
Jackass 3D.
You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
It is the most
Really?
technically accomplished film of the year.
Pretty much, yeah.
I almost wish I were joking, but I probably haven't had that much of a good time in the theater all year.
It's because you're always
Pure cinema, that one.
Well, that's just it. You're very
Boy,
You're very
have you
in tune
ever
with
seen
the-
that much cock in a film that's aimed towards frat boys?
Let me think. No.
Exactly.
You know,
There's
if you're
something
gonna,
just wrong about that, and oh so right, because man, that crowd.
But you're a big fan of, you always talk about the technical aspects of film, and you're not kidding. This was seriously
No.
technically a great achievement.
No, really. Seriously, I think in my review, I broke down the formula of it was slow motion plus 3D times Jackass equals perfection.
but really,
Essentially, yeah.
these moments where the 3D is really great are sort of like 10,
Oh, I'm someone who
10-minute sequences.
I vehemently hate the use of 3D almost in any form. But
It wasn't just the 3D too. It was that Phantom camera they got that shoots 1,000 frames a second with the extreme slow motion.
Right.
So you get the dildo hitting the guy's face, and you're just watching the waves.
Fat, yeah.
yeah, the presentation was
So the
phenomenal.
experience of this just trumps everything, including the fact that there's no story. There's no.
I think there is. There's kind of
it's a sideshow.
No, but there's an interesting through line in this one. They've been doing this for 10 years, and there's a very I'm too old for this shit feeling. It's kind of at the end when you're seeing all the clips of them younger when they're starting out, and they're so enthusiastic, whereas this, they're like, why do I have to be doing this? And then are catapulted into
Yeah,
feces.
at one point there's Steve-O's just, he's been sober for, 2 years? And he's like, what,
Yeah, all of a
do I
sudden
have
he
to
can
be
feel
Steve-O? He just doesn't want to be there. These guys are past.
And it's bad. The way they
I
walk,
will
they look
concede
like,
this.
old
though.
men.
Damaged.
I cried when the midget police officers came running into the bar after the two midgets got into the fight. The dwarves, concerning their relationship issue, and then the midget ambulance guy. The whole thing. It was
Oh no, it's conceptually
that was pretty damn funny.
absurdist. Yeah, I thought it was great. So my runners-up list.
I'm surprised. If I had been consistent with that philosophy, I would have put Step Up 3D on the list. I was just as entertained by Step Up 3D as I was Jackass 3D.
We're going to edit this portion, right?
Step Up
The
3D.
use of cock was
Dude, it
more
was-
subtle than
it was-
3D, but it was still there.
To quote one of the audience members afterward, dude, that was banging.
Sure it was.
It was. That's one of the best dance sequences in film this year. The kids dancing on that Brooklyn street. It was awesome.
What other uses of dancing were there in film this year?
Not much.
Except for
Not
the,
much, but that was fun.
the sheep and sweetgrass.
There's a movie I'm never going to see.
You would have liked
Well,
Step
there's
Up
a-
No, I
3D,
saw
John.
Step Up 3D. I mean Sweetgrass.
There's a movie you might be hearing more about.
I know that.
Yeah, I figured, all right, I'm up. Toy Story 3.
At 10, huh?
Yeah, number 10. I actually, and I don't think it starts off good at all. I was actually really nervous for the first half hour or so because it seemed like it was rehashing Toy Story 2, and there's a lot of familiar things. And then it becomes harrowing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I was
Horrifying in that
I was numb with this film for the first half hour, 45 minutes. Didn't do anything for me, and then it got better.
And then all of a sudden, there's this scene in the incinerator where, they're facing
die.
Well, that's
And I
actually
really
that's an
thought-
hour and a half in, though.
Well,
But,
it
I mean,
builds
the-
up before that when it's when they get to the
When Lotso turns.
or when they're sent off to the
Daycare.
daycare center, and it becomes this weird allegory for putting your parents in an old age home. And it's supposed to look so nice on the tour, and then it turns out they're being horribly abused behind the scenes.
Yeah, they actually studied Alcatraz for those scenes.
See, I thought of it more like the senior citizen home, and then you have Ned Beatty playing basically a slave owner. There's all these strange things, the good old Southern
No,
boy
he
thing.
was-
Know your place, boy!
Ned Beatty was sort of the.
He's
like-
an incredibly upsetting film, really, at the end. And I was sure that they were all going to die, and that was going to be the end of the series, and little children would be scarred for life. And for once, I liked having the 3D glasses on so no one could see I was crying.
Now, wait, your Uncle Sean, too.
Yeah,
Now, and then, have you watched it with your nephew?
I haven't watched it with him yet. I bought it for him, though, because it's
Yeah.
never too early to teach kids about the inevitability of death.
So he's got Apocalypse Now and Toy Story 3 from Uncle Sean, right?
I never would have pictured my favorite toys as oven dodgers, though.
You know, from a certain angle, that's pretty risky for Disney to do that. I wonder if they've ever had characters
Pixar.
come that close
Well, it's
to.
Pixar. They had to one up. They destroyed us last year with Up. So it's like WALL-E was devastating. Up was beyond
Can
that.
we agree
so
that-
now,
For overall consistency, these are very different films, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have to go on the record saying I thought this film was terribly disappointing. It was redeemed by the ending. I thought the last half hour was as strong as anything they've done, but yeah, I thought the first hour of the film at least was pretty much DreamWorks level. They set the bar so high at Pixar that I was really concerned as well.
I'm amazed. I would have thought you would have put this in like your top 3.
No, honestly, at the end of the day,
The way people talking about this movie.
well,
I
it was
saw
also
the
during such a drought. It hadn't been a good movie for 4 months.
I
so
really did not.
I saw the picture probably 3 times in the theater, and I give it 2.5 stars, which seems harsh, but I think at least the first half of the film is so substandard for them.
I think it's funny that you give it 2.5 stars at substandard, but you saw it 3 times in theaters. Knowing you, that's pretty much
about
average,
opportunity. It was like I
it
took
was-
so much shit one time for saying I saw Raise the Titanic 3 times in the theater, knowing
Quite
it was a
honestly,
crap movie.
I was thinking the first time out, maybe it was just the mood that I was in, and it
Yeah.
just didn't hit me in the right place.
It does. It is.
The
The second time.
projection. If it was at the Commons, it could have been the projection.
It was actually one of the few times that they had terrific projection right out of the gate. It was in their...
We saw it in the IMAX thing. Didn't we
The
see it like in the
IMAX.
3D IMAX thing?
I don't remember that.
But,
Oh, I remember it. They had this huge, spherical thing with Saturn rings coming out and around, and went right through your head. You were sitting right in front of
I
me,
think-
and the 3D came right through your head. Remember that?
Honestly, I think I would have responded to the picture
not.
if it was a short subject instead of a full-blown feature, because I think as a movie, it was pretty unnecessary. I thought the second film had such a perfect ending that really it just ended on such a bittersweet note. I really wish they had left it there.
This has Toy Story 3D. It was a very surprising ending. They did bring it together in a really effective way.
Although watching Andy
people
play
were
with those-
crying.
Oh, yeah, watching Andy play with those dolls, I don't think he's going to get a lot of action at college.
But I really loved those Oliver Platt films.
It got emotional. I do want to say that I didn't.
We had a really good time.
It didn't do its thing for me. The way other people were crying and talking it up about it, I was like,
I would have liked an alternate version where he does bring Woody to college, and then Woody has to stay in his dorm room, and just the horrifying shit that Woody witnesses. Andy's got a bong!
There's a snake in
would the bong be a toy?
Yes, it would
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
talking bomb.
Here we go. Call Pixar. We've got a pitch here. Andy's coming out of the closet. What?
All right, again, a 3D movie. And a movie made just for me as well. Oh, great.
Just for me.
Just for me. They had a meeting in Hollywood and they said, John would really like to see Piranha 3D. So,
Is there sort of an opera scene
in Piranha?
You did not see
Yeah.
Piranha?
Hmm?
The underwater ballet?
with
The naked ladies doing the ballet?
Lakme by Dalib?
Oh, I don't know.
That's the tune.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Burned into this memory. Yeah.
Oh,
I was
a couple
kind
of ladies swimming around each other doing magical things.
Yeah,
three
in
dimensions.
3D.
Yep.
Carnage in 3D.
Incredible carnage. That is the most sustained, unpleasant set piece that just goes
Audacity.
on for so long.
The
audacity
lady
of
on
it. Did I say-
the paraglider.
Oh my
Some
God!
paraglider?
Oh, with the whip and wire.
And
Did I
you
say
knew-
Jackass was the most fun? That sequence there was actually a tremendous amount of
Jerry O'Connell
nihilistic fun.
getting his member bitten off.
Just
Oh, but
Richard
the,
Dreyfuss
the beats of
back
that
in
whole
movies.
sequence.
I was just I couldn't concentrate. I was just so happy. I was in my happy place watching this.
the insane carnage of the speed.
Oh yeah, Eli Roth getting killed. I'm always a big fan of that. Just
Regurgitating fish.
yeah. And even the fish who spit the penis out.
It is amazing how many 3D movies this year had penises flying at the camera.
As soon as boys learned the technology, you knew that was going to happen, right? Right?
The floating breast implants.
Yeah, the 3D
Everything.
boobs.
Everything worked for me. There was a story. There was blah 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 blah. I can't remember who was in it. Besides Richard Dreyfuss, Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Who's the girl?
Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue.
She was cut. She was
A
like
couple of
ripped.
kids in danger. Just there's no.
Yeah,
time.
they're young kids. That's
Young
the
kids in
real
danger.
cliche. Yeah.
Jerry O'Connell, Steve McQueen's son? No, son's son. I think great grandson or something.
and the best part, 82 minutes.
Yes, 82 action-packed,
economic 82
blood-filled
minutes.
And
minutes.
who was the porn star?
There was a porn star.
Yeah, she was one of the two women
On the
in
boat.
Yeah.
Well, here's the part
There's
we always,
Kelly Brook, who's Jason Statham's ex.
Well, this is the part we always ask people to write in. If you know the name of the porn star that was in Piranha 3D, send us an email too.
Postmoviepodcast@gmail.com.
All right.
We'll be sure to get it. It'll be
Yeah.
one of the few.
And I'll post the answer with her picture. But anyway, that's my number 10. That was probably the most fun I had at movies all year.
Man, I should have changed up my criteria. I was seriously considering Piranha 3D.
I thought of it
Wait,
while I was
look,
watching.
look at this. I know. It's like when they had zombie strippers and I walked in and Sean goes, "I knew you'd be here." What? Of course you knew I'd be here.
Hello, Brett.
Turn your phone off.
Yeah.
That was
the porn
a
star from Piranha. I was listening to your podcast and I'm the porn star that was in 3D. So anyway, that's my number 10.
Under
And
number
that was
9.
a special cameo appearance on my phone by Mr. Jim Vernier, film critic from the Boston Herald.
We done name dropping?
They did
We
top
got-
10s also?
Yeah.
We are, as I'm going to actually shut the
All
phone
right, what do you
off.
got 9?
I chose Drones. The Amber Benson directed
Oh, yeah.
flick, which I really digged. It's about aliens that have inhabited an office, kind of like The Office, Omnilink. And it's sort of their first step towards
It was at Boston
an
Film
alien
Festival.
invasion of, it was at the
Independent Film
IFFB, the Independent Film Festival, Boston. And really liked it. I dig Angela Bettis. She is just sort of got this horror thing going, just sort of this alternative goth horror thing. So she plays the sort of the main love interest in the film, and it's quirky, funny. I digged it. I like Sam Levine. He's sort of like, to me, he's like a young, not looking like Woody Allen, and James Urbaniak as the office boss.
Did you guys see it?
No.
Well, I struggled with putting it on my list from the angle
Damn it,
that
stand up. Stand up. I just said
it was
Piranha
a
3D.
huge
Come on.
struggle. But the thing is that like Kim Voyner, another journalist who writes for Cinematical and Movie City News, and I'm friends with her on Facebook. She faced to book the question: do you put movies on your top 10 lists that you saw at a festival but haven't gotten distribution? And my answer, of course, was yes, because last year I put Best Worst Movie on, but Best Worst Movie didn't get a release until like October this year. But Drones, I guess, didn't really get a release, but it's going to be available on Comcast On Demand on January 1st for a week. So it's a good chance to see it. Only chance to see it, because basically it doesn't have distribution except for that. So it's definitely worth it. It's it's sci-fi geeky. What am I going to say?
No,
It's
that's
fun.
all right.
Is
Don't be ashamed.
Facebook a verb?
Yeah.
Facebooked.
I will Facebook you, motherfucker.
Didn't you see the movie? They say Facebook me.
Is it on anyone's list?
Facebook.
Is that movie on anyone's list? Just nod so
I
we won't
should've.
surprise the readers. But really?
I think I'll have
It's
to
a good
social
one.
network
It's a
this
good one.
list when I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, number 9, Brett. Drum roll. Something I've seen. Make it something I've seen.
You have, and you ain't gonna like it.
The White Ribbon didn't come out this year, right? That was last year, right?
It was
For
like
some people, it came out this year, but yeah.
Don't let him put it on there again.
No,
I don't want to
no.
have this conversation.
No.
well, somewhere on this list is a movie called Somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Which,
Surprise.
yeah, and well,
Oh,
it's a surprise
yeah.
because I'm aware of the mixed reaction to this film, and
Wait, is this your number 9? Or you
Yeah.
teasing somewhere? Is that the one with Dorf?
Yeah.
the one, yeah.
You have to like watching a Ferrari speed around in a circle for 5
Wait,
minutes.
wait. I enjoy
In order
watching
to try and figure
identical
that
twin
out, right?
strippers
That was nice.
over and over again. Nothing wrong with that, except for the
High five.
yeah.
It's,
no,
it's
that's
very
seen
much
the
in a
Foo
way.
Fighters
It's
tolerable.
it's like an extension of Lost in Translation.
Yeah, but
living in a
without
hotel,
without
seeing the
personality
world
of Bill
from-
Murray. Which,
Well, that's my problem
Which
with
was
it, that
huge.
it's the first 10 minutes of Lost in Translation before the story starts, where you just have this washed-up actor bumming around hotels being a drunken lout, and then
yeah, but you know,
the movie ends.
without all that glamour that you just mentioned, I really empathize with this poor son of a bitch.
The poor son of a bitch who's...
Yeah, I know.
I mean, these are
the
like-
glamour is the key word
This
there.
is the agony of being trapped in wealth and fame.
Yeah,
white people
except I'm
problems.
the opposite of that. I'm right now trapped within poverty and death. But anyway,
Yeah.
What are we going
On
to
that
say?
level.
Fame. People read your stuff, right?
yeah, sure.
Poverty and fame.
I don't know who. If anyone does, send an email to where?
Postmoviepodcast@gmail.com.
There
Or
you
you
go.
can Facebook.
And that
Brett.
is what. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Facebook Brett.
Brett. Get Brett Facebooked.
Facebook them.
Yes.
Booked in the face.
But yeah, the patently European sensibility that Sofia Coppola's embraced so much really just works for me probably much better than it has any right to. But it's a movie that I, given it on DVD, could probably just throw in a machine and be really comfortable.
Like on a loop, just playing all the time.
Yeah, it'll be this year's O. Horton.
I'll level it with you and put me to
Roll.
sleep for 10 minutes. I would like a baby.
See, that'd
Oh,
be good.
it's
It's like Ambien.
You're a critic, Steve. You don't admit to this.
That's
I admit
that's
I
full
saw it and then
disclosure.
refused
If
to
I
review it.
if I nod off during a movie, I think that what's worse is that if you say another critic slept during this movie.
Well, that's breaking the code of silence.
Yeah,
And
you know,
Omer-
but if
honestly,
I
I
fall
don't-
asleep, like
Critical Omer-
I just
No, getting back to the movie, like I thought, I liked what she was trying to do. I just don't think it was my same problem with Marie Antoinette, where I don't think there was
Which
enough.
did not work for me very well.
I don't think she's enough for a movie here. Like both her last two films, I think it's like she's got the first act, it sets up an atmosphere and a space and a character, and then the
The
credits roll.
structure's there. I do like the introduction of the daughter, and I thought Elle Fanning was really terrific. And
she was, yeah.
and I bet a fellow critic of ours, or colleague of ours, I won't mention any names, but I'm sure he might think she's.
Was this the one who was all about the little girl from True Grit? Yeah.
Perhaps, but again, that's
One girl
All right, I'm gonna
terribly
let
innocent,
this one-
the other
Yeah,
not.
I think Coppola
let
does a
this
great
one go.
job of setting mood and atmosphere, but it's lacking story for me. I didn't know what the hell I was watching or why I was supposed to be watching this.
You need Dorf just doesn't have.
Well,
You
I
need someone
think-
like Bill Murray to fill in the gaps. there,
That's
where
true.
Dorf's
He
so
doesn't
empty.
didn't have that like sense of humor, or he didn't bring the baggage that we have with Bill Murray. That's actually a good
Something
thing.
was missing
but
for me.
but for somewhere, it's also
himself is he's a missing person in his own life. As cliche as that sounds. Wow.
Oh no, it's a fun like entourage 10 years later. You know. So-
Yeah, but maybe it's just. Maybe I got a thing for Chris Pontius because the goddamn asshole's in 2 movies on my 10 bed.
It is funny. You're sitting there, watching him chum around
jackass
with
What a
people.
guy.
kick-ass crew.
Yeah,
the one who
it's
plays
like
Guitar Hero.
in one movie you're seeing him use his cock as a baseball bat, and then in this next one it's like he's chumming with everybody in on the hotel room and they're
Wait to see
standing
where
on
you
the
were
couch.
going to go with that.
Ew, chumming. The Verb, to chum.
Yeah, there was chum in your movie.
There was chumming in Piranha 3D.
Yeah.
But with Somewhere Out, it's also it's about like a chunk of someone's life. It doesn't really go somewhere. It's like it's existence of some sort.
Well,
so
and then there's the final scene, which I think feels really false. Like this sort of like, we need something to end the movie, and here you go. And I just didn't buy that for a second. I would have liked him just to slip back into the.
What was it that he
strippers.
whispered in your ear, anyway?
I read in a piece where she sort of got the genesis for both Lost in Translation and Somewhere comes from when she was in New York with her dad filming his segment for New York Stories, which I guess took place at the Plaza.
Which she wrote.
That's had apparently
She's
a profound
really
effect.
preoccupied with hotels. Like she's read Eloise way too many times or something.
I mean, I think we probably know she grew up in the Dan things, right?
You can just phone service, cheeseburger, phone service, breakfast. It's all
Phone
taken care
to identical twin strippers.
Dancers.
All right, Sean.
Dancers.
Carlos.
of. Ooh,
This is the shortest 5.5-hour movie I have ever seen. Directed by Olivier Assayas. It's about Carlos the Jackal, a terrorist who talked a good game about Marxist ideology, but really he just wanted to be a rock star. And this thing, did anyone else see it?
no.
Yes.
No.
And tell us, Sean, do the terrorists win?
Reagan is really bad for Marxist terrorists. You find out. Like, when the wall comes down, things don't go well for Carlos. But no, I mean, the thing just flies. It's absolutely riveting. It's sort of like, because, I got these 3 DVDs of it, and I was like, well, I'll just watch one today. And then it's over. It's like, oh, shit, I got to put in the next one. And then I lost the whole afternoon.
Did it play in when it was in theaters? It was just one continual 5.5-hour experience? Or
Yeah, they did it at Coolidge Corner for a weekend. But,
I've heard good things about it, but the idea of a 5.5-hour foreign movie, even though you're recommending it.
Did you pay for it 3 times?
But again, three discs, you can break it up.
Yeah.
and the middle segment where he takes the entire OPEC conference hostage and tries to get out of there on a variety of planes and is rather incompetent about his planning. It's just that in itself is like a 2-hour chunk that could have been the best thriller of the year.
Is it already out on DVD?
I don't know.
What was the one about the
You can watch the short version on.
Oh yeah, there's a short version on Comcast on Demand, but I don't know.
But don't do that.
Yeah.
If you're-
What was the movie about the French bank robber?
Oh, maybe.
Marine.
Yeah, that was divided into 2 parts. That's the worst part about that movie, was divided into 2 parts.
Wait,
It's long anyway. Great stuff.
Mesrine?
Measuring 1 and Measuring 2.
I swear a few weeks back I heard someone
He'll kill people for less than that.
Mesrine.
I'm missing that.
Yeah, look, if you can find Carlos, it's you get 5.5 hours to kill.
Winter's Bone. Just bleak. It's just the lead performance is the lady that's the lead
Jennifer
actress.
Lawrence.
Yeah. I just seen her do something else. Poker House.
She play Winter?
Yes, she plays Winter, and the other guy plays Bone. It's
Oh, I thought.
no, that's the parody. It was just unlike anything I'd been seeing up till then, and I like the bleakness of it. I liked her performance. I like the atmosphere, the setting. That's not an area of the country that gets put in films much.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Man, that is some cold, hard social conflict. Oh, man.
The broken screen porch door budget on that movie must have been huge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Deborah Granick.
How many squirrels they had to use before they get one that would peel just right for the stew?
And that Winter got a purty mouth.
Yeah, yeah. It
You
was,
think she? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it was some. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it, but I really did. So.
Did she get a Golden Globe nomination for Best Director?
Oh, okay. Don't mention the Golden Globes. Don't dignify them.
No,
with
because
response.
basically I'm thinking that she could
Yes.
probably get an Oscar for this.
Well, yeah, but just don't talk about the Golden Globes. Just they don't exist. Edit this out. My problem with I was really digging Winter's Bone for like an hour, and then it just kind of got away from me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure out why. I was like, you know, you get that, you're about an hour in when her uncle comes to rescue her and all these people are going to kill her.
Too much of a geek show?
No, but then it's sort of like the conflict seems to disappear. Where you're basically, you know, you have this girl investigating the scary world of meth dealers and stuff.
Right.
And then they all just decide to give her information or help her. There's no agency on the part of her or the uncle even.
To make that transition.
Yeah, and just it's sort of like
Yeah.
everything just kind of comes out, and they're all like, "Oh, here you go." Because I mean,
Go cut
it's
off
a
his hand.
great atmosphere. Well, even that, then it's
Yeah.
like, you
It's
know,
like cheap
I
wine.
can't do it. Oh, well, we'll do it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I think they
But
were
of course
trying
they
to
do it.
I thought they were trying to show, I think they were trying to show how the women would band together, but it doesn't really.
yeah, it just didn't.
It's kind of ham-handed at that point. But
The film seemed to just like further because I was really into it for an hour because that atmosphere is incredible. John Hawkes as the uncle is just
Yeah.
stunning. That's a
Yeah, he's
great
awesome.
performance.
Man, I went the other direction. It just got more riveting for me. Rowboat scene was just crazy.
The movie also really dispels that notion that the world would be a much better place if women ran it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Godard
that,
believes
too.
that. But
He believes a lot of things.
yeah, there's man. Yeah, just as crazy. Just
All
as
right,
crazy.
so that's my number 9. Steve?
My number 8, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Hey, that's on.
I could not
on one of my
deny
lists.
really enjoying this movie. I can't
you,
deny
12?
it, man. What are you, 20-something?
Are you old enough to be in here?
Really,
Steve.
I kind of was not. I kind of was not liking it immediately afterward. I was so sick of the whole. You should like this. This is the most awesome thing since friggin' sliced bread, and how it got such a kiss on the ass from, Comic-Con. The biggest possible send-off you can get from all movie.
Well, it was
review.
mutual. I mean, have you
Everyone
ever seen a
did it.
movie fillet its audience the way this one does?
For true. But it really
You don't
is
mean fillet
I
like
think
a
it's-
fish, right? You mean
Fillet.
Okay,
Oh,
I wanted,
yes.
want the enunciation there.
It's actually.
Hey,
it's
wait a minute. You're the
masterful
guy who reviewed
filmmaking.
the audience.
Go talk to NPR, all right?
I think Edgar Wright really is, one of the best filmmakers working today. He is really good at his visualizations, his editing,
like to
particularly
think
his
that.
sound effects.
Like
Yes,
to.
this is a it's a candy corn kind of pop movie, but really it's a terrifically put together film. On
Even
many
though it
levels.
was, 6 of the same scene over and over again?
Well, the repetitive nature of the movie was also sort of an example of the repetitive nature of playing video games. So it just kind of
All right,
went round in
as
itself.
a frequent player of video games, I take offense to that statement.
Brett. For its truth.
No, no. I was probably on Facebook where I read someone say that this movie has sort of redefined the language of cinema, and I suppose that's true if you've never seen a movie before.
It had a very interesting combination of live action and animation. The way the animation affected the characters' feelings, and
But
sort of like
you
an Ice
used the
Cream
word
Park.
character. Is there any actual character in the movie?
Scott Pilgrim was a fucking douchebag.
Oh, for sure. Yes, he was. I can't say that the characters aren't well developed.
Is he supposed to
They're
be redeemed
shallow.
by the end?
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. The girl that he treats like shit apologizes to him for liking him, I guess, and then he gets everything he wants and beats all the bad guys, and a whole bunch of similar scrawny
the
little
movie-
nerds come out of the movie, incredibly empowered to act like dicks and write me hateful emails, and
Yeah.
There is no depth. There wasn't supposed to be. It's shallow. The characters, the people that they're, these kind of indie, trendy guys, characters, gals, girls, shallow, but cool.
Let's not forget that the lead character is played by Michael Cera. Anyone? Michael Cera?
What about him?
Exactly. Any thoughts on him? Personally, I mean, I went into the movie having passionately disliked most of his recent performances and was hoping this would be the movie to change my mind on him. But
is this the one where he does the mousy thing and swallows his punchlines?
Yeah, this was the one.
Yeah.
Oh. His leap forward as an artist.
yes.
I fall right in the middle. I watched it and I walked away and it's like, okay, next. I got the DVD. I still haven't opened it.
I still think it's a director's film. It's all Edgar Wright, his vision.
You know, I used to refer to Jesse Eisenberg as sort of like the poor man's Michael Cera, but
Boy, did this year flip that.
boy, oh boy, did it.
All right. Number 8.
All right, number 8, another one for you, John.
Brett writes these lists just for me.
Here we
ahead.
go.
I'm sitting down. Go ahead.
Sweetgrass.
Bad movie. Bad. Tell me, Brett, what is Sweetgrass about?
Apparently, it's no better than a bunch of security camera footage. What else was there?
Another John cell phone movie.
Wait, I haven't even seen it. Don't quote me.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
No, it's the movie about sheep herding as a way of life. That's
HURTING.
you get it.
Suddenly, I'm intrigued.
Bad.
No, really, is it a documentary about sheep herding where?
Oh gosh.
I didn't see it. Stop looking at me.
New Zealand?
No. It's a quintessentially American film. I mean, it's this American way of
Vegas.
life that is going away.
So it's one of the flyover states.
Yes.
It's not.
Okay.
Needless to say, I've never been there. It's very green.
Okay.
I don't like places like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I like stone and concrete, brick.
And so it's just a documentary about raising sheep?
Herding.
Herding.
Yes.
Moving them from one place to another.
What makes herding sheep interesting?
See the movie.
Well, this is your job to explain why. You're the critic.
Yeah.
It is.
Sell me on it. Come on.
It is, but I just woke up, an hour ago?
And it's
let's really.
2:33 o'clock.
Will anything that I say convince... Well, I might be able to convince you to watch it, but you two?
I'll just stare at you.
Sheep herding. No, it's beautifully shot. Unfortunately, a lot of it's shot on standard definition video, which was a drawback, but nevertheless, the composition was really nice. There's a lot of really subtle camera movement.
So
that
not
leads
to scare
you-
the actors.
Well, that is a concern.
I want to create a stampede.
Yeah.
Is there a story?
Well, there are no.
This isn't good. This doesn't sound good.
Are there
There's
people?
no undead sheep like that movie Peter Jackson produced a few years back.
What?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
How
Black
about
Sheep,
that?
was it?
Black Sheep. That was the movie.
Oh, that Australian movie about the killer sheep?
You get it.
Awesome. I saw that.
Yeah, right. Well,
Not
just
Killer of Sheep.
No,
That's
killer
a little
sheep.
different. All right. All right.
I'll come back to this
You've
one.
talked me into it.
Yeah.
After you made a case like that.
Again, I'm a critic with the Phoenix and the Herald. Read my fine musings weekly.
You will love sheep after this.
Number 8, I got Rabbit Hole, which is not about Brett's apartment. The movie I can't talk anybody into seeing because it's about Nicole Kidman and Aaron Eckhart after their 4-year-old son has been killed.
And it's even harder to want to see it after seeing the trailer. It's such a
Yeah, the
downer.
trailer's terrible, and it's a terrific picture. It's actually surprisingly funny and uplifting, and it starts 9 months after the kid's dead, so you don't get the hysterical grief, trauma, Oscar emoting.
Not even in flashbacks?
Stop it. No, what I liked was it was about, how do you go back to normal? And like, when's enough time gone past? And it's these little things, like when do they take the kids' finger paintings down from the refrigerator? When do you clean out the room? When do your friends start talking to you again without being weird?
How's Kidman?
Well, maybe if you don't do all that freaking surgery on your face, your friends will treat you a little
Kidman
bit
is
better.
very good in spite of her freakish plastic surgery. This is the first time it hasn't driven me nuts. She seemed to be able to move her eyes again.
Okay.
Which for a while.
She is like a mask. She has like a mask. That's what Manola Dargis, New York Times, says. She's basically just a mask who's in different movies and is
No, but
in
she
some way
seems-
capable of not emoting.
She seemed
But
very
she does in
mobile
this
again
movie.
here. I
How
don't
was
know.
Eckhart?
He's good. He's got the,
And this
you
was
know,
John Cameron
Mitchell, yeah. Which
Right? What did he do? He did that.
Hedwig and Short
Yeah.
Boss. Yeah. It's a very different film, but no,
I still think this movie could have used just a touch more of the Star Spangled Banner.
right.
Well, you know, it's the movie actually becomes really engrossing because it has this introduction of another character that I don't want to spoil it, but it just it's like I've not
Male or
seen
female?
how this kind of relates. Male. Should I go ahead and say it?
No, but yeah, it's the sheep. Yeah.
Yeah, to see how Aaron Eckhart reacts to it and the different response. Everybody's looking for some sort of peace, closure, something like that. And where someone else gets it, it just totally blows the other person away. It just makes them go nuts.
Well, it's interesting to see how they can try to get back and be together again while they're off. This has destroyed
Yeah.
everything that they were.
Looking for closure. They're just looking for some sort of continuation because they're stuck in this.
But is it like, do you, with a family like that, I don't have a family, I don't know, but was their whole identity wrapped up in who they were as a small family and the idea of, and their son? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about the movie. Now they got to start over, or start again, but they're completely different people after the accident. And are they even compatible anymore? And there's so many ways this movie could have gone wrong. It could have been terrible. And
it does.
Mitchell directs it with there's such a light touch. It's actually very funny.
Right. It actually doesn't go wrong. But I think the real lesson to get people to go see this is do not pay attention to the premise. Do not pay attention to the trailer. Because even though we get to see the movie for free, I was still not looking forward to it.
I could give the advice of do not pay attention to the trailer with 90% of the things that are out there, but no one will ever listen.
What a downer premise, though. Great movie.
Yeah, it's a total Blue Valentine.
So much I kind of like that.
What do you got, Joe?
I've got Joan Rivers, a piece of work. Speaking of plastic faces. I wasn't a big fan of the woman. She kind of annoys the hell out of me. But from the opening shot, which is a close-up of her face without makeup, which is one of the scarier things you'll see, to watching how her career as a comedian and where she is now, what a fame whore she is, and her daughter. And it's not pretty. It's not always a pretty picture. In fact, it's usually not a pretty picture. But I walked away with a greater appreciation of this woman's career as a comedian. I liked it.
Her responsibilities in life, too.
Yeah.
Well, if she didn't live like Marie Antoinette, then maybe she wouldn't have
If she
to
had
do
money.
She has a hugely Victorian lifestyle.
Oh, she's insane. She's insane. And
Just the nagging insecurity in the movie is terrifying.
Yeah.
This woman's had this incredible career, and if she's got a weekend without a booking, she's like, "That's it, it's over."
and watching her do a stage show in Scotland at the Fringe Festival, and just seeing her do that shtick when she's just come out of the plastic surgeon and she's her face is still puffy, and she's doing rehearsals of these jokes that are kind of lame, but but she's selling them. Most of her jokes are kind of lame.
Some of the stand-up scenes are incredible.
Oh,
though.
the gig she does
When
in
she
Wisconsin?
when she gets heckled,
Oh, she takes that dude down.
Yeah.
She's got it.
yeah,
But even the opening bit about her daughter posing for Playboy was absolutely hilarious. I've forgotten how filthy she is. Just 'cause
Yeah,
you're used
yeah.
to seeing her on the red carpet or hawking shit jewelry on QVC. I forget she used to be a really famous stand-up comedian.
yeah, and just watching the scenes where she works in that shithole place in New York where she does works out material to bring on the road, and those files of jokes,
The file cabinets.
files and files of jokes.
That's valuable, all that stuff.
Give this woman a Broadway show. I bet you could put her in Spider-Man. I mean, sure, she'll end up in Traction in the hospital, but man,
She looks like the Green Goblin already.
Yeah, she does. She does. She's not. And that's, the film is filled with archival footage. And it's funny because she's not that old, but it seems archival when her face was her own. But she's got a good sense of humor about herself.
And the incredible resentment towards other comedians is hilarious.
Oh, my God.
Where you have Kathy Griffin fawning over her, and she just looks at Kathy Griffin as she's going to steal my dates.
Yeah. But she does that salute to George Carlin, and she's there with all the other comedians, and just this tension in the air.
Oh, and they're introducing everyone, and she's just riffing on them. She's like, clever, smart. Then they get to Ben Stiller, and she says, lucky.
Which made me cheer. So anyway, just a tremendous film. Tremendous film. I had a lot of fun. Brings us to number 7 on our hit parade.
Inception. Probably the most enjoyable hallway fight sequence I've ever seen. Yes, and the big impressive, I don't know,
Exposition of foghorns.
theater shaking intonations, that. And I guess that's what Tron Legacy has in common with Inception.
That music, yes.
Gets a little messed up towards the end, in terms of being able to follow all the different levels, but incredibly cool. Again, it's another movie that there was so much positive stuff out there. I was like kind of not wanting to like it, but I couldn't help being impressed by it. And I loved the whole manipulation of time and the slow motion sequences with the bus going over and stuff. That was just very high cool, but incredible example of sort of like what the best Hollywood can do when all these technical things go right.
Fun to look at.
Christopher Nolan, man, he is the director, man. It's like insane.
Yeah, someday
Nolan.
maybe he can figure out how to shoot an action scene, and we'll really be getting somewhere.
Where does that come from?
No, I like the Honor Majesty's Secret Service ski scene.
Okay.
It's terribly put together.
Well, there's an explanation.
Where the hell is
people dream
anybody?
anything. There could be anything.
But see, yeah, my dreams still go from point A to point B in a fashion that you can follow within the dream logic.
Or, why just have everyone wearing identical white suits and shooting at each other?
It's not the best film of the year. It's convoluted.
No, I liked it. I never
very
It was
enjoyable.
fun.
consider watching it again. It was great to see, too, like in a movie based on an original idea that didn't talk down to the audience, and it made an insane amount of money, so that was hopeful.
But I was sick of Leo by this time.
No,
He's
see, I really
very
liked him.
self-important.
No, I think he's good. Ever since Giselle ran off with Tom Brady, he seems to be making all these dead wives. Every movie, he's got this crazy dead wife.
That's true. Two for this year.
Yeah, and he's playing the same damn character in this movie that he played in Shutter Island.
Oh, exactly. But I thought he was really good in Shutter Island, and he was really good in this. And to the extent that I don't think Christopher Nolan
But I think
cares
for his-
much about people,
for
so
his
I
next
thought DiCaprio
project-
brought a lot to the movie that wouldn't have been there if it had been,
I liked
Tom
Gordon
Hardy?
Levitt.
Gordon Levitt. Oh, yeah.
What's his first name?
Joseph.
Gordon-Levitt. He's quickly becoming one of my favorites to see him in things. Not all of his movies work.
You like
Joe?
500 Days of Summer?
I like 500 Days of Summer. Did you see the one he did with Mickey Rourke?
Yes,
That was awful,
that was terrible.
but I couldn't stop watching it. That was a
Mickey Rourke is a Native American.
yes. That was a train wreck on my TV for 90 minutes that I couldn't stop watching it. Who was near that? It was based
Kill
on
Shot.
Elmore Leonard.
Yeah, it was
that's
Elmore
it. Wow.
Number 7. Brett.
John, another one for you.
They can't all be for me.
Actually, probably for all of you guys.
Yeah.
I
Let's share
thought I was
the
going to
wealth
say this
here.
is your top 10 tribute to John list.
Yeah.
It's a film called Like You Know It All by Korea's Hong Sang-soo.
Wow, you can almost hear the tumbleweeds roll across my mind as I listen.
Hong Sang-soo, the auteur
I just read about this
behind
one the other day. Go ahead.
Behind what?
Woman is the Future of Man, Woman on the Beach.
Keep going. I know there's something in there I can grab
A little
onto.
closer to America.
Well, this is a picture, by the way, at full disclosure. It only screened...
In Brett's house.
no, it actually played at the
How to Show My-
MFA.
Really?
Museum of Fine Arts. Yeah, who is programming I don't especially love these days. There's a lot of factors for that, but they just did a series right closing out the year of what they were calling new films from Korea. And they weren't necessarily the newest films from Korea. This one was from 2009, but it's the first time it played in Boston.
What's it about?
He's a brilliant filmmaker. It's about a real prick, a self-centered film director who is invited to be on the jury at a film festival, and basically he gets He gets smacked around by a lot of women he pisses off. One of them ends up getting raped as sort of an indirect result of a night out drinking that he was involved in. He wasn't really responsible for it, but basically everyone takes their shit out on this bastard. And
What's it called again?
that's the first half of the film. It takes this director's films are typically broken up into two halves, and they really inform each other. But it's called Like You Know It All.
What's the second half?
Second half, this guy goes to speak at a class at a college that he had gone to, meets up with one of his old instructors, and the instructor's new wife, who happens to be his ex-girlfriend, and hilarity ensues. Not really.
Sounds
A lot
like
of people get
Drunk and raped and beaten up, but
Yep.
Sounds awesome. You're really selling us. I got the sheep movie and the drunk rape movie. And
What more can you ask for?
I know.
We're going to need some coffee while watching this one.
I think we do a mix of both of them.
drunken sheep
Drunk and
rape.
sheep rape.
I'm intrigued, though. I really, genuinely. Let's check it out.
Like you know it all.
Yeah, you're up.
Another happy one. Blue Valentine.
Yeah,
No.
I did. And go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
It's just basically the beginning and bitter end of a relationship between Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams. And the movie cuts back and forth between them first meeting and falling in love, and several years later, as their marriage is just over, and she's getting up the nerve to leave, and he can't quite figure out why everything. It's great at capturing that moment when a woman is completely done with you.
I've never been there.
And you're just banging your head against the wall going, what happened? Why aren't things the way they were before?
Why are you completely done with me?
All right, I guess I'll drink all day. And
Wait, we can save everything at the future room at the CZ Sex Motel.
It's like the life of a relationship.
it's
And then it reaches a point where there's just nothing there.
it's grueling, but I mean, knocked me out. It's so John Cassavetes. It's even shot like a Cassavetes movie with these shallow focus close-ups, and Gosling is doing such a...
He's either riveting or annoying. I mean, he's really good.
And this is kind of
or
both at the
so
same time.
Anachronistic.
I thought he was
in his
annoying whether he
wardrobe
was
and-
the slightly balding asshole at the end or the ukulele playing asshole in the
Well, that's what,
flashback.
because you can see all the stuff she found charming about him at the beginning of the relationship, which years later,
He's just annoying.
she just would have outgrown it. Like,
Right.
oh, that's cute when we're in our 20s, but now
Right.
we got a kid, and you're still being...
You do at some point have to. You do ask yourself why she fell for that, and she grew up. He didn't. And
I have a problem with her as an actress.
she's. I love watching Michelle.
Yeah, I think
Williams.
she's great.
Did you see that dog movie?
Wendy and Lucy.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. I love
Really? Come on.
I kid you not.
It's kind of fantastic.
It is
I
actually
didn't love
a
it, but
very
I loved
good,
her in
Oh
it.
my God.
She's got one of those, like the Juliet Messina thing, where
It
she,
may
like,
not be-
doesn't do much with the face, and you can read everything that's going on in there. She's very subtle, which is nice seeing her next to Gosling. Is so
This
insanely
does
emotive.
kind of go in a way with Wendy and Lucy, but Wendy and Lucy, I do want to say it's a mood and it's a speed, and it's just an aesthetic that is, either you like it or you don't.
Okay.
I mean, it
I'll agree
really
with that.
plays into a low groove. I mean, because her her character's outlook is not, so shared
And
by a lot
it
of people.
may be no sweetgrass or like you know it all, but
Sound effects. It's Wendy and Lucy, terrific film. That's all I'm gonna say.
Blue Valentine's better.
Wow.
I
and that film does so many things
don't.
better than the DiCaprio and oh god, I've wiped it from my memory.
Oh, Revolutionary Road.
Oh,
yes.
boy. Yes.
Wow, that was an awful movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue Valentine
Yeah,
was
that made me want to put a gun on my mouth.
It was getting a lot of press because it was actually NC-17, and there's really only one scene where they.
I
Or
swear.
at least pull the trigger.
I think that was all
changed it.
publicity stuff.
So do I. I think that was Weinstein saying, we'll get some
I
publicity.
think he
No one's
genuinely-
gonna pay attention to this
You can look at
movie,
it that
so
way, but I
let's
think
stir it
he
up.
genuinely had a point because the sex scene in the film is not so crazy.
Well, that's why I think it was a drummed up publicity
Yeah.
thing that no one would pay attention in the movie otherwise. But now all of a sudden
No,
you
but
got
for
Michelle
real.
Williams on Letterman talking
She enjoys
about
oral sex. We should ban that woman.
But yes,
Wait a
from a
second,
financial
what's in the
aspect,
scene?
when
as-
when Ryan Gosling performs, what's that word again? Filet?
Cunnilingus.
Thank you.
The female
on on Michelle Williams, and she actually seems to enjoy it. I think that's why.
Well, it follows the
that
scene,
or
when,
the scene with the
present day
wrestler.
scene where she's just not enjoying it.
Yeah.
The
Stop, get me a drink.
point about Weinstein I wanted to make is that the difference between getting a certain distribution for an R-rated film and an NC-17 is huge. So from a financial standpoint, he had to do it.
you...
No,
He had to do it.
No,
what are you going to do
I think the whole thing was...
with an NC-17?
I think he started the whole NC-17. I would just think it's the whole thing's.
I think Banksy was behind everything.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. So what are we on now? The number?
It's you, John.
Number 7.
Okay. This one's for me again. They're all for me.
This is going to be a 2-hour show.
I like this
gotta tell
movie
you.
because of the actors involved. The story I left. It's called Get Low, with Bill Murray and Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall's an old hermit who arranges his own funeral, and Bill Murray's the undertaker. And was a kid from Friday Night Lights, the slow talking one.
Lucas Black.
Oh,
Lucas
yeah.
Black is the sidekick. It had.
Sissy Spacek.
Thank you. I've been a fan of Robert Duvall, and a lot of his movies lately have just sucked, and it was good to see him pony up and do a performance. Murray always cracks me up. Story kind of falls apart along the way, but
You think?
I do. But I'm only picking it for the two actors involved. I loved watching Duvall and Murray work together.
But did you think they really worked together? Because what I found fascinating
Okay, I like
about the
seeing them
movie
in
was
the same movie.
They were in the same room, but they were in different movies. And I wanted to be in the one that Bill was in, because that one seemed great. Like,
Yeah.
his eye rolling is extraordinary.
Stephen Dorff played the Undertaker.
Yeah, it would have worked.
I just said it like built up to. I mean, what a
The end is
nothing
awful.
revelation where it's this big build up and big build up. It's like total. All this for
That big secret, the big reveal at the end,
Yeah, and
doesn't work.
and if he hadn't cast the actor who had played Boo Radley, would there be a character there even? It was just like I thought it was like
that's-
Duvall as icon inserted in.
No. The thing it wasn't because I think a lot of Duvall's work is because he's Duvall. He's in a
What
movie.
was in this movie
And
that
Pepper.
prevented me from falling asleep? I mean, as I did.
Robert Duvall and Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray being funny.
How many films did you fall asleep
Bill,
during?
Bill,
I
Bill
fell
Murray
asleep
being
through
funny,
many.
but it's in his own style. You know, whether like it's the eye rolling or just the physical comedy, things that he probably doesn't even know are funny, and it's cracking
Oh,
me
well,
up.
he
Complete
knows.
like blank responses to. That
Everything.
Duvall was like totally hamming it up and going.
Yeah,
It was sort of.
And I'm not a big Sissy Spacek fan, but the scene with her and Duvall worked for me. So it was just for acting alone. I'm going to put that out there.
It's a good film. I'll give you that. And there's a good story behind the trouble that was to get the darn thing made, and to get it wasn't going to happen without Bill Murray, and the director was actually kind of surprised that it actually did happen.
So much won't happen without Bill Murray.
So much won't. The guy's the master of subtlety.
Now we're on
Makes
6.
Number
Racing
6.
along here.
True Grit. Enjoyed it immensely. It's a small story. Haley Steinfeld's performance, loved it, even though she doesn't contract. Her, not a disease. Not a disease.
No, not contract.
Nobody uses contractions.
Yeah. They speak very properly.
I didn't
Yes.
know that was a verb though. To
Yeah,
contract.
so just like three quarters of the way through the movie, it's
simply
just like
refuses to
everybody's
contract.
talking like Data from Star Trek.
Facebook and contracts. Okay.
A lot of words for them.
This is Jeff Bridges' movies. Forget about Tron Legacies. Terrific as Cogburn. Matt Damon, great in supporting character role here.
It's incredible.
Loved it. Loved it, man. I actually really enjoyed Barry Pepper too. He's
Well, speaking of Robert Duvall,
Yeah, it's funny because they just had the original with John Wayne on TMC, and I watched it, and Barry Pepper is channeling Robert Duvall.
he's got the voice.
Everything.
I think he's better. He's a better Robert Duvall than Duvall and Get Low. No, True Grit's much further up on my list, and because I think, for the most part, it's just a really great, conventional, satisfying Western, and then I think that last 20 minutes goes somewhere very different, than, especially like watching it again, really, I don't want to spoil it, but...
Well, you're not talking about the child rape.
The what?
There's
There is not.
he's always referencing idiotic people who write things on the internet. Someone said the ending scene, the midnight ride, compared it to a child rape.
What?
I know. It's like the most...
Name this fucker.
what's it, Chuck Stevens?
It may have been.
Yeah,
Yes.
he called it a rape scene.
Kitty porn.
The hero of the movie racing through the night to save the young girl is kitty porn.
Yeah.
I don't understand what he's referring to.
I don't either. Why did it
I don't get it.
acknowledge these people's existence? Because it boggles me. Just ignore idiots on the internet. 'cause
Yeah, it's the only thing to do with them.
It's really an
I think
impressive performance from this girl who's like never heard of her before, but they've
whole
cast
movie.
well. They've cast really
It
well.
looks gorgeous.
Roger Deakins.
Yeah, I'd like to see it on
Sounds-
film projected properly sometime.
It was a bit dark. Yeah.
Cool. 6.
You know?
And this one is not for me, no matter what you say.
No, this is pretty much for you.
Oh, cool.
Well, yeah,
You may have heard of it.
Red 6.
Perhaps. But you haven't seen it. Well, who am I kidding? You haven't heard of it. It's Last Train Home, a documentary by Lixon Fan.
Don't look at me. He's right. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I would be making Licks and Fawn jokes if I had seen
I
it.
think I got a
Listen,
name
what?
covered, but I don't recall.
I almost saw it, and I did something else instead. I forget
Yeah.
what. But
You know, it did actually play somewhere for a week, too.
yeah, you picked a movie
Rattle,
that
the
showed up
Coolidge,
theater.
the Archives. Kendall.
Actually, it had a pre-screening at the Brattle as part of
There's a West
the
Haven as well.
Dockyard
Oh.
series.
This is his most commercially successful non-Jackass film on his list.
Wow.
Now, what's it about?
Sheep on a train, drunk, raping each other.
You know, China's economic miracle. There's a very human cost to this miracle. The film centers on a couple that's working the factory year-round. Once a year, they get to travel hundreds of miles back to their family to see their teenage kids and their parents. They get this brief time, and then they got to get the hell back on their train, go back and work for another year. And it's just, you see the cost of, you know, what's happened to human lives in China for their so-called economic miracle.
Who did it? It's Licks and
Fawn.
It's a documentary.
It's a documentary. It's the first it's the first film he's directed. He's produced other films. Up the Yangtze. I'm sure it's another picture that you're very
saw that
familiar
one.
with. Yeah.
You saw the porn parody.
I saw them both.
Yeah.
Is it available anywhere? DVD?
I think it's still
It's on Netflix. I know that.
It's not still there, is it?
It was there last time I was there, but I guess that was a while
If it
ago.
is, it's been doing terrific business. Better than I would have.
Cool. That one sounds interesting. I'm going to stay away from the sheep.
Yeah, there's.
and
I think
I looked back in here and I just see everybody like.
the image you'll come away with from the film they actually use for the poster. It's the young teenage daughter of this couple.
on top of the
She-
train.
Yeah, actually.
It is on Netflix. It's on my Netflix list. We're close to Brad.
Her reaction, she sort of lashes out at her family situation. And I don't want to say too much about it, but have I sold you on this one?
Yeah.
Good.
I was kind of sold on it anyway because it's on my Netflix list, but now I'll actually move it up from like number 470. All right, Sean.
Exit through the gift shop.
Who made that movie?
Banksy.
Banksy.
Did he?
Who is Banksy?
Who is Banksy?
Still want to see
Why
it.
do I
I haven't seen it.
And this is another one you want to talk about movies that shift in their second half and get better, because it starts as this documentary about street art and it's taking it very seriously. And
Who was that movie made by?
that was made by Mr. Brainwash.
Mr. Brainwash.
A guy named
Terry
Gietta,
Gietta,
who was doing this earnest documentary about these graffiti artists. And then,
Well, let's be clear. He wasn't really making a documentary.
well, he was just filming.
filming
He was.
Yeah.
And then Banksy
A
took
street
the movie,
artist.
yes,
British
took the
street
movie over and
Did
encouraged
he?
Terry to go into graffiti art on his own, despite the fact that he has no talent. And he becomes a much bigger star than anybody, manipulating the hype machine, and the movie basically turns around into this big middle finger to people who follow trends and showing how what sheep we all are and follow the biggest hype. It's in keeping with Banksy's thing. A friend of mine joked that, like, all Banksy has to do now is just make paintings of middle fingers that say "fuck you" for buying this, and people will spend millions of dollars on them. Because it just lacerates that art world view of, like, hype and commodification, and it's freaking hilarious.
He's already done the major process of creating this impression of himself that he himself sells. He's already gotten to that point.
Yeah, well,
doing
the whole
very thing
movie's
that
about
he's
the
laying
commodification and branding and trademarking and, you know, these, like, the Shepherd Ferry Obey things that just get repeated even though they have no meaning, but repetition should.
And then sell for thousands and thousands of dollars because they're
It's like
cool.
the very thing we should do to make this podcast successful. Branding, commodification,
spray paint all
selling,
over.
spray painting.
So yeah, I thought it was. I mean, I really wasn't with the movie for the first half hour. By the end, I was laughing uncontrollably. It's a big, like, joke is on the audience, and
I wanted to see it. It only played at the Kendall for like a week, didn't it?
no, it was there all summer. It played West
summer?
Newton. I saw it at West Newton with a crowd full of senior citizens who were then debating what if there's graffiti on, like, the street out there. There was actually someone's
art? On the
bike had
street
like
afterward?
stickers, and they're like, "Now, would you call that art?"
Oh, man. Thanks. All right, what are we on, 6? Four Lions. Comedy about terrorists. Cracked me up. Just cracked me up. It was, it's about, 4 of the worst terrorists you've ever seen. It was kind of slapstick how bad they were, but great cultural references. Just hilarious movie.
Well, it makes sense when you think about it, because the people they get to be suicide bombers aren't going to be the best and brightest.
Right. Right. They are not. They are not.
When you're watching these guys accidentally blow themselves up,
It's like this battle of
a sheep.
Mr. Crow. And Mr. Crow.
and they're so stupidly egotistical.
Oh, it's
You know,
just...
they're wanting to promote themselves at the same time.
And I like the way the director doesn't pull back. You know, people are going to blow up. They're just going to blow up in your face.
Innocent bystanders.
Yeah.
Oh, the best gag in the movie is an innocent man gets shot in the back, and then you feel like you laugh like crazy, and you're like, I don't feel good. I'm an asshole.
Yeah. But it's funny.
Yes, it is.
You know?
And my favorite character is the white convert to Islam who has an ideology for everything to the point when his car doesn't work, it's because the spark plugs are Jewish. It's a plot to control global traffic.
I only wish I had seen this with an audience of people. Because I only saw a screening when the director came to town, and I was laughing. I was like, oh, I need that camaraderie. I need to know it's okay to laugh when this guy gets shot, or when the guy says something so fucking outrageous, or, you know, when they're running around at the marathon at the end, dressed as characters, and the guy who locks himself in the kebab shop, the really stupid one.
The stupidest of
the Four Lions.
Let's be clear. There were actually 5 of them.
Yeah.
one of them didn't
The fact
quite
that the guy swallowed his keys because he thought that they were all going to Palestine to do some other sort of deeper sell. So he swallows his car keys.
They can't even find Mecca.
The way they just walk around shaking their heads so no one can get an idea of them on the, in the video.
I thought it would be much more controversial than it was. I mean, it opened and closed in a week. I didn't even get to see it in the theater. I thought this would be a huge deal, and then it's nothing.
Well, it's Alamo Drafthouse film. They have a distribution company now, and I think it was. I could be wrong. I think it's their first.
I don't know why it didn't generate it. It generated controversy from me just watching it alone. So why didn't people are more upset about an NC-17 for a sex scene than in this outrageous. I thought there'd be jihads against this guy and everything else, but
was this NC-17?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But anyway, it's worth checking. It's worth looking for because it's.
Well, in a roundabout way, that movie, and if anyone who's marketing the DVD when it comes out is listening, this movie got me laid.
I'll forward this.
It's not on the back of the DVD box.
It should be now.
This got me late, Brett.
Can we take
This
a
movie
break
got me
before
late.
we do the next 5? I don't want to hear
Brett
this
Michelle,
story, and
Boston
I want to go
Herald.
have a cigarette.
They couldn't put that on the poster, but I'm sure they could use it on the website.
I'm going to get some more coffee and smoke, and Brett can tell you all how.
Yeah,
good
let's.
it is.
let's,
I
let's
don't want to hear another Brett Sack story. I'm leaving.
let's you know,
Talk about your rabbits.
we've is that
I thought you said no more sex toys.
Yeah, exactly.
we've done 1 hour. Let me just wrap this up quickly in case we want to split the audio.
Yeah, let's split the audio.
we've done an hour, so we're halfway through, and so we'll just pick things up with 1 to 5.
Right.
Exactly.